everyone, and welcome to the SwiftCase Productivity Podcast. My name is Adam Sykes, the founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform, and today I've got with me
Phil Whitby, developer at SwiftCase.
I didn't know which way you were going to go.
I did on purpose to spray you off.
And
I'm Craig McCarthy, development manager at SwiftCase.
Okay, so today we thought we'd do an episode broadly about big data and how companies, specifically technology companies, know a lot more about you than you probably realise. Obviously, in the context of general elections and presidential elections and referendum campaigns, there's been a lot more transparency about how much data these companies know about us and the information they've gathered from various sources. But I think people still don't understand just how much they really know about your lives, whether you've given it to them knowingly or whether you've been tricked into entering some kind of football competition to determine your psychographic profile in order to be targeted through political campaigns. There's a lot more than these companies know than you probably realise, and I think you had an interesting story, Phil, didn't you, about I think it was Google specifically recently.
Yeah, there's a really great thread on Reddit that I read about Google's tracking data and how to access it. So you can do a Google dump of all the information that Google holds on you, whether that's your location data, your voice for Google searches, like when you do OK Google.
That is the scary one to me. I didn't realise they did that. I mean,
they store it.
I had no idea they store. I didn't think they
have the
really want
bandwidth.
to. Exactly.
Capacity to store that
storage.
info.
Like the fact that my voice is on a server somewhere at the minute.
Frozen in time.
Asking Google all sorts of mad questions.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, with Alexa, you can listen to. I can go into my app, Alexa, and hear all my things. And if there's any where it doesn't quite understand, ask me to review and then say what it really meant and things like that. So you can help them with the. But anyway, I digress. The great thing about this was that people were all looking at their data and going, "Oh my God!" and saying they were shocked that it had a record of everywhere they'd been for like years, and they could trace it back through. And the key thing was that most people were a bit perturbed, but then they weren't going to change. They weren't going to turn it off. They were just like, what are you going to do? And some people with tinfoil hat, they were like, oh, this is ridiculous, you don't know what you're giving up. But one really interesting case was a woman whose partner had died a year previously, and she just come across the thread and was excited because she realised that if she could access her husband's dead partner's account, she could hear all of his OK Google requests. And when she did that, she found lots of messages that he'd done, joking ones, while she was in the car. Like say, OK Google, who's the hottest wife in the world, or things like this. And they'd all been stored. And of course, these are all throwaway moments to us that you might get nostalgic about, but never think, that actual memory is accessible somewhere. And one of the fringe benefits of this spying is that she was able to go back and listen to all these messages that were about her, which are basically messages beyond the grave. And I thought it's very much like that Black Mirror episode.
It is, isn't it?
Where,
there was not the first Black Mirror
it was
episode.
one of the first or second, where and that's a very, very, I think that's a brilliant story to happen in real life.
I suppose, but the good thing about that's like a nice positive story, isn't it? That we don't tend to hear about with scary stuff like that. I say positive story, but it is. The technology has ultimately helped cope with this.
But it's definitely a fringe benefit, because the darker side to it, Google, there was a released video where Google had done a presentation which illustrated where they see all this data being applied. And they see it as a personal ledger, they called it, which would survive you and potentially be passed on to generations. And they use that information to predict your behaviour. So it wasn't about, we know where you've been. It's about knowing what you're going to do and what products you would be interested in buying, and potentially even creating those products from your behaviour. So they foresaw like a future whereby they could automate the process of production of novelty items based on missing data or missing opportunities within your ledger.
So to make products that aren't even
that don't exist,
yet,
that's specific
because
to you.
that's what people want.
So it's like, and that the data will be so powerful that they will be able to kind of make those syntheses artificially, which I thought was it's amazing as well. It's very interesting, but it's
because there's the argument, isn't there, about advertising, that it's two-way, isn't it? Because people don't like the idea that they've been manipulated or coerced, and this is the big issue around Cambridge Analytica, wasn't it? In that people were concerned not by actually the part that was probably that is the criminal aspect of it, the theft of the data that they weren't meant to have, on which they based their algorithms. But then most people get annoyed about the fact that that was then used to coerce people to based on their fears and aspirations and interests into acting a certain way. When actually that's standard, that's advertising, that's marketing, that's what people have been doing since the dawn of advertising. It's been convincing people to do something that may or may not be in their best interest based on their personality. The only difference nowadays is that can now be individualized. Now there's the trade-off though between, is advertising something to you that is useful, a benefit, when it is advertising something that's useful, not Cambridge Analytica and trying to coerce you or nudge you in a potentially nefarious way. If it's actually a useful thing,
like this product will literally help
if it's
you
something
with
that's
your
useful
life.
for you, like I'm looking for, I don't know, stain remover because I know I've just spilled ink on my clothes, and they go, here's an advert for a great stain remover.
It's like, oh great,
that's useful, isn't it? Or if they're nudging you, like, I don't know, say they know that you're sedentary, and the government pays for adverts to nudge you towards exercise. Is that necessarily a bad thing that they are using that data? As long as it's not being, it's what it's being used for is the issue, and I suppose then you get into the issue of who decides what's allowed and what isn't, and that's where regulation would need to come in, where we haven't got any regulation at the moment of how data is used. It seems to be very binary, doesn't it, at the moment? It's GDPR especially, it's can we process your data or not? No one reads the individual aspects of how we're going to profile your data and goes, I'll allow that. I'll allow that, but I won't allow that. And when they say, Google I think do this, they say, are we allowed to show you adverts that may be of interest to you? If you don't tick yes, then the adverts will be general. So you still get adverts. The only difference now,
loads of them do it now. They can personalise your advert experience sort of thing.
So it's like, really, are having adverts that are more useful to you a bad thing or a good thing?
Because if I what it does is if I then see adverts that appeal to me, I go, oh yeah, I could do with that. But what I'm really admitting to myself is that I'm losing agency in the world that I think I have power in. So you're basically saying, well, I do need a new razor or something like that. And then you start to think, well, actually, do I, or am I being manipulated here? There's that double-edged sword where you have that extra usefulness, but you feel more like a cog or like a victim of something.
Because often, I suppose, this was the issue with, again, going back to the referendum and the Cambridge Analytica and Trump as well, is it wasn't that they gave people who were thinking that Trump would be a great thing. Oh, here's a little push to you because you think that would be good and it'd be good for you anyway. And there was a general benevolence of Trump would be good for you, so we're showing you this advert. It was, they knew that certain issues, for example, they showed in the EU referendum, they showed issues about animal rights and polar bears and so on to people, saying inside the EU we can't protect polar bears, which wasn't entirely true. It was some kind of weird, but very specific niche argument that one time one thing happened, or
it's just missing the small.
Or they showed Spanish bullfighting and said, this isn't, to animal lovers, saying our culture isn't this, to kind of drive a wedge between the EU and the UK.
These barbarians.
Yeah, when actually a lot of people in Spain and across the EU are against it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So they use the fact that
hunting here.
They use the fact that they use the fact that these people had a push button issue that they knew about to target them, to have something that was maybe wasn't directly in their best interests related to that particular issue. So that's where it sort of became almost scary, if you like.
Nefarious, yeah. Well, it's an extension of sex sells. I mean, go buy a car, well, what's it saying? It's saying, oh, you want more sex, get a car. Get this car particularly. Well, look at the woman in this car.
Yeah, and you're not going to necessarily get the benefits they're selling.
No, exactly, yeah. So, but that's the subliminal message.
Yeah.
And it's just at this point, like you say, they can tailor it much more specifically. Now, what I think this all comes around to, and we talked about it yesterday, is that what technology is doing is enabling peasants like us to have butlers. Now, if you're a rich person or aristocrat and you have a butler, that butler can listen in on your life. But that butler also is paying attention to your wants and needs and extrapolating what you might need in the future and going and doing things on your behalf. And to an extent, it's then taking away all these boring processes like washing your clothes and making your meals.
Yeah.
Right. So we're living in this kind of butlerian future, and all the same problems with having a butler are coming with it. You lose privacy, agency. You may be being manipulated because if that butler wants money for himself or wants you to behave a certain way for the benefit of other people, especially if you're a man of power and things like that, we all become like that. And that's the same compromise. Yeah. The butler could pass information on to other powerful people against your interests.
Yeah.
And we are now just finding out that we are all effectively 18th century aristocrats with the same kind of issues that all have public images that we have to show on Instagram, whatever, that can be undermined by the person that's facilitating that public image.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a new problem. It's just a more widely distributed issue.
Exacerbated by technology.
Yeah, whereas it used to be the preserve of those
and they know about
life.
it.
Yeah.
The difference is they would know about it.
Yeah, they knew that.
They knew that was a risk.
Yeah, but then they would go, "Oh, I trust him."
Yeah,
and people have different levels of trust.
Yeah,
different.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same, except.
And there's feedback there, isn't there? There's no feedback from my Google profile or my Facebook profile of what my Facebook profile might be thinking. You don't get a daily.
But then I suppose butlers were just kind of a good butler is just invisible and just provides things. It's just something saying.
Yeah.
I think the analogy stands well, because what we really the world that the technology promises us is one of leisure, and the only way to do that is to do all those non-leisurely things for us. That
automate.
Guy did it, yeah. So I think that if you want to see what the problems are going to be, look at the problems of 18th, 19th century. Butlered individual, and you'll just see a massive expansion of that kind of lifestyle.
Interesting analogy. Yeah.
I like it.
No.
I like it. It's a good way of explaining it, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree though. I think I'm a bit spooked out by the fact that Google does capture so much.
But
I know I've given it access to it. But
because of the benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you just go, and like we talked about in the environmental, you go, I don't want the environment to die, but I want my rice in 2 minutes, not 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And these are the kinds of trade-offs
But the things are though that Google, there's a difference. I suppose there's a difference between Facebook and Google, isn't it? Facebook's got information because you've given Facebook information that you didn't necessarily need to give it. So if you tell Facebook, I like this, I like that, I like whatever, they can then tailor adverts based on what you like. Yeah. If you type all your life story into Facebook, you've told them and they can pick out words and you've given them that.
But they're tracking you through the curtains, aren't they?
Yeah, but Google's different. Yeah. Google's saying, we'll tell you how to get somewhere. Turn on your location services and we can tell you what's nearby. They don't need to record where you've been. That's all. They don't need to do that.
Yeah.
The voice search, they don't need to save that. They certainly don't need to save it against you. They could save it anonymised against someone said this and this was the text in a big conglomeration.
I am very surprised.
They don't need to save it against the individual. Now, the way that Google are doing it, in my view, is worse than the way Facebook are doing it. Because Facebook, It's like, yeah, they're processing your information, but you've openly given it to Facebook. If you put something on Facebook and you don't think, one, Facebook can see it and the world can see it, then you're the one at fault.
Yeah.
But Google,
it's a tool.
Who actually knows that when they've gone, oh, okay, Google, can you tell me blah, 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 that's recorded for the next however many years.
Give me the directions to this place.
Yeah.
Start your GPS. Yeah. Location is on your phone.
And it's recording you all the time. Why does it doesn't need to record you all the time for the services that they're providing.
I'll tell you what,
that's not clear.
On a tangent, that I get all the notifications on my phone over where I've been and things like that. So whenever I'm nearby, anything that's like, oh, you haven't been to John Lewis for a while. When you pop in and have a look at those tellies.
Remember when you browsed?
The tellies you've been looking at.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. And it is a bit spooky, but then at the same time, like, yeah, do you know what? You're right, actually, Google.
Thanks, Google. Yeah.
I'll have a word with you later.
But is it good that it knows what you're thinking?
Absolutely not, no. Exactly. Absolutely not.
So I think we need to know what you're thinking. So drop that in the comments below this video.
Yeah, and if you look at my Google search history, you'll see one website above all. It's swiftcase.co.uk. Why don't you head over there and check out some of the things that we do, and also check us out on social media such as Facebook at SwiftCase UK.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.
Okay, great. Thank you for listening to today's SwiftCase Productivity Podcast, and we'll see you again next time.